Hey guys, welcome back. Well, it's that time of year to start preparing to run the boiler for the winter season. So I've always wanted to add more water storage than I originally had done last year. So those of you who've been following along, you know. But so I just got these 2 additional tanks here, so I got to plumb them in. Now, the only reason I need additional water storage is when I run my snow melt system, because the initial heat loss that I get from the water is pretty substantial. So this is just pretty much, it's thermal storage, but it's just like a buffer to slow down the water before it goes back to the wood boiler. So, because as the water comes into this one here, on the original setup, it cools this down and then slowly cools that down. Now I'm going to have it where it slowly cools this one, and then back. And that should give me, or give the system enough time to heat back up and get the water or the glycol to heat up. So what I'm going to do is I'm prepping the fittings on top of the hot water tank, and then I have to put them on, and then I'll run the PEX. I got to cut a bunch of PEX, so I'll probably show you guys that. But I'm going to get the fittings on there and then redo the plumbing, so stay tuned. Okay, well, I didn't do a time lapse, but this is the end result. I still have to insulate them and stuff, but I'm not going to do that yet. I want to make sure when the water's flowing through it that I don't have any leaks at any of the 4 new points that I had to solder to get them on here. So may not be the prettiest looking setup, but ideally you don't really want the 90s because that creates head pressure. The only reason I left them on here because I already had them on there with the connections. I could always change these 3 down the road, but for now I'm going to leave it how it is. So now I still have the return tank. I left that the same with the shutoff there. So water comes in from there, because obviously I'll turn that T-valve off, shut that off. It would come into here, come to this tank, which that's the hot to the cold, to the hot, up to the cold, out the hot, to the last tank, and then back. So each tank is 40 gallons, give or take. That's what they say, 40 gallons. So, and they're insulated, obviously, because they're hot water tanks. They're not plugged in by any means. So the reason why I got them originally is because when like I said before, when the snow melt system turns on, like initially turns on, that glycol could be what, 10 degrees, 0 degrees, 20 degrees. Through the heat exchanger with this water that's going through it from the boiler, it could draw about 100 degrees. Well, you don't want 100 degrees going shot right back to the boiler. I mean, you really don't want anything below 140 going back. That creates condensation, and technically you could crack the wall inside there, which obviously you don't want. So when I did initially the 1 tank, which made a huge difference. It maybe gave me another 10 minutes before that 100 degree water came back, because before the snow melt kicks on, you got to think this is roughly 180 degrees getting mixed here before it goes back to the boiler. So it's slowly getting the boiler to cool down, and then that goes back in the run cycle. So really all I'm trying to do is to slow down, to keep hotter water going to the boiler longer, so the snow melt system can get the temperature up faster, so it's not bringing back such cold water. So then I added the 2nd tank last year, about a month later. Sorry, you can see I sprayed some water. There was actually a good amount of pressure in there, which almost made it from 10 minutes up to 30 minutes longer. Because you got to think, this is going to slowly start mixing, which entails going to be slowly start going into this one. And now that I added 2 more, I don't even know how much longer. I'm not that smart to do the math on that. It could be 10, 30, hour, 3 hours. I don't know. Yes, the boiler is going to run a little bit longer to heat up all this extra water, right? But the idle times now should be phenomenal. I mean, it should stay in idle a lot longer, which is good because I have dry wood, so I don't think it's going to take much to get it back up to temp. So the only time I open these valves to run the water in here is in the winter time, like when it's really cold. It just gives me longer idle times. I feel like, I think I still use the same amount of wood. The boiler is just running, technically it's running a little less. You may think it's about the same, but it's not, because it gets up to temp actually really quick. The house is really efficient. I mean, I shouldn't be running, hopefully, the snow melt system that much. Obviously, if we get snow, yeah. If I'm still running the kiln, I'm not sure how that's going to affect this, because that runs nonstop. If that heater's running, it's just running, unless I'm running a certain program. But anyways, so I'll have to do some tests on this with the snow melt to see if I can get the temps up in the slab a lot faster. I'm assuming so. I've been meaning to get this done all summer, and now it's obviously getting closer to winter. So today was a rain day, so it was a perfect day to not work outside. So I figured I'd get this done. So I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I mean, this in my garage here, my shop, this is all dead space. So I figure, well, I don't come over here really. Yeah, I cut some stuff over here from time to time, but I'm mainly outside. So dead space. I can still get to the spigots on all four if I need to. But it's pretty much just the thermal tank. It's just the hold of water, the hold of heat. It's just an extra, 40 gallons each. So pretty excited about it. I think it's going to make a big difference, and hopefully. So now I got to open them up slowly. I'm going to have to fill the boiler with more water, put some more treatment in there. So I wanted to do it this way instead of just putting an additional, say, 200-gallon thermal tank. Because as soon as you start putting colder water in the tank, the whole thing gets a lot colder, same time. Or here, this really slows it down. I really wanted to put gauges on all these, but at the end of the day, it don't matter. I have a gauge going back, so I can kind of monitor it from that. So, like I said, I know it's going to have longer run times, but I don't care. It's all the same, really, at the end of the day. So I'm going to let everything kind of harden before everything should be good. But I'm just going to let it sit for a while before I start to fill it. Like I said, I've been meaning to add water in that thing anyways. And I have I can fill it from in the basement. I have it piped into the main PEX. So all I got to do is hook it up to the hot water tank, so I'm not putting cold water in. And I can fill the boiler from in there. So I may slowly start to fill this until the water in there goes down a little bit, fill that, because I don't want to run it too low, because I know I'm adding another 80 gallons. That's going to drop that pretty good, and I don't want to do that. So we'll see. I'm not going to do it by hand, I can tell you that, because that would take me all day. It's a lot of trips going back and forth to top it off. So I may fill that, fill this, and then fill that again. We'll see. So yeah, if you guys have any questions on that or thoughts or what you think this is stupid or not, I don't know. But it works, and it works well. Like I said, I'm just adding an additional storage. So, and down the road, I may, once we go fully solar on this building here, which I'm hoping to do maybe over the winter, maybe next spring, summer. I'm still designing the system. That way that I can have my whole shop, the boiler, everything off grid. I may actually plug these in, so when the water starts to come back a lot colder, whether that'll make a big difference, I don't know. Because it has, I think they plug in here. I'm not 100%. It looks like that because it has the ground, and maybe down there, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it to see yet, but I may do that. I don't know if that'll help or not, just to help the boiler so it's not running as much. Only when the snow melt's going out, I'll just crank the temperature gauge up to 150 or whatever it goes up to. Normally it's around 180, but not only that, that could be huge though, because if I go on vacation, right, and we let the boiler go out, yeah, I'll leave the pumps running, But if these turn on, this will help it so the water don't freeze and it'll circulate the water. I don't know. Because down the road, I may put a onboard electric, the biggest electric boiler they make after the snow melt. Once I have solar, right? To help heat the water back up. I don't know. We'll see. I got a lot of things in mind and planned. Everything takes a lot of electricity, so I don't really want to do that. But we'll see, because I may have been following along a long time. I'm probably going to do my whole long driveway of snow melt, and that is going to take a lot of BTUs. So for me to be able to do that, I need a lot more heat. Now I think adding this for my current snow melt, no problem. I feel like I'll be able to get those temps up a lot quicker now, because it'll be a steady, hotter water for longer, which is great. Because once it gets up to temp, it's no big deal. Then it'll fluctuate. It turns on, turns off, turns on, turns off to keep that surface temp or the slab temp up. And then it's no problem. It's just getting there. So now that I added these two, I mean, those two alone that I had originally was fine. Adding another two, I think, is huge. So I'm actually kind of excited I got this. I've been thinking about it for a long time. So rainy day, I was like, screw it. I went to the store, bought all the parts I needed, and she's up now. So I'm gonna fill it, make sure there's no leaks, let it run for a little bit, and then yeah, she'll be all set, and I'll close her back down. That way I'm ready to go for winter. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Just it's all trial and error. I've never seen really anyone do it this way. It works for me. Just kind of thinking outside the box. They're all insulated, obviously, so. And this garage is heated in the winter, so the surround temp's usually around 70, just like your basement or house would be. Most basements are probably around 50. But I will insulate all this, kind of like how that is, so everything should be efficient. So yeah, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you guys think, and yeah, as always, keep burning.